Hello and welcome back. I'm People Joe, and this is WRSR Resources Soviet Republic. A new major update has dropped. 0.8815. That's a big one. That's Metro, Trams, Realistic Mode, and a bunch of other stuff that you probably care about or should care about anyways. And this is it. I'm playing on the regular branch now, finally. It's been months. I double-checked the old video that I made about this from 0884 is almost 3 months old now. If you have questions after this video, maybe go back to that one and double check that things make sense. And if I didn't cover it in either of those videos, I know I forgot it, and put a question below and I will try to get to it, or someone else will. Anyways, let's get started. First things first, where's all the new stuff? Well, let's get right started. New game gets you to a couple things. One of them is the Slovakia map. That's a new one. So if you care about that, cool. We're just going to check it out because why not? Over here, what's going on in the settings mode? It's relatively simple. There's one major change. It's realistic mode. You may remember that at some point there was a different word here. That word, there's a guide on the Steam forum, and that person decided to be a jerk to everyone. And, well, don't use that word anymore. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's not worth it. It's not worth the trouble. That person kind of tried to take my channel down, and, well, he may still do that. So be aware. Stuff over here should be pretty self-explanatory. We have some population, we have some money amounts and all this stuff. When you set up realistic mode, the thing that you should just understand is this the setting. This setting you can turn on and off in your game too if you want. It's a normal game setting. And it explains here, you cannot instantly build the buildings and infrastructure. You need to build manually. You cannot instantly purchase resources in the buildings. You need to bring it from the customs. So all automatic magical options are no longer there for everything. Which, well, if you really need it, you can just turn it on and life will be fine. So no problems there. Other things, really, nothing else has changed. I think this one, vehicle availability, there's a lock according to year and lock according year. The starting option just means from that point forward, that vehicle's always going to be there. It's not going to be an end date. And lock according to years is just the start and end date is recognized. Let's go with that. Everything else in here, if I remember right, is pretty much the same. So let's get started. We're on the map. So what's new about this one? Look at the border. It is a custom border. It is red, which is USSR in most places, and a little bit of blue right over here. That's really all. There are a couple cities on here. I kind of forgot that they were turned on, but hey, this is Slovakia map. Pretty, right? Yeah, why not? We can just run over here and see all the things that are going on. The first thing that is going on, let's turn the map off because reasons. I think there's some new models in here too, which is nice. Okay, what are all the things that are new? There's a lot of new stuff. A lot of new stuff. First of all, if you really want to play realistic mode, you will have to start building something, right? You can't just turn something on. How are you going to do that? If you don't have buildings, and if you don't have workers, if you don't have people, if you can't auto-build anything, what do you need to do? Well, you need to get stuff from the customs house. And how do you do that? Well, you could build a construction office, but if you look at it, it costs money, like it has materials. If you plop it down, you still have to build it. Well, it's not going to work. So the nice people at 3 Division took care of that with some free mud buildings. Let me turn off my mods for now so that's not confusing. Free mud buildings. There are several. One of them is the construction office, which is free. You just put it somewhere, plop it down, and you are good to go. Cool. Now, if you would like to buy something, you can't. It says there's no connection to the customs house. That kind of makes sense, right? It's not completely out of the ordinary, but you cannot buy something that you don't have a connection to. So if you want to buy something, build a mud road in this case, and then say, now buy vehicle mechanism from the NATO border, which is right here, or ruble, or this one. And that works because we, I believe, have a road network. There's a NATO border. Ooh, this is interesting. Oh no, there's a border house. There's a NATO border and a USSR border. So now we can actually import vehicles from those places. And what will happen is, let's just use a dollar one. Let's use a car. The car just pops up over here. And then it drives to wherever it's required. In this case, our customs house. Cool. And that's how most of the vehicles will show up. Not all of them. Which ones do not show up like that? I will show you. For example, if you look at USSR or our side, there's no tower crane in here. There are a couple other vehicles like that as well. No tower crane. What does that mean? Well, you can't buy one here. Can you buy one here? Let's see. You can also buy vehicles up here. And when you buy vehicles here, you will see them on the purchased vehicles, so you can actually move them around if that matters to you. But if you go here and we look at tower crane, also the search at some point was added, there are no tower cranes here, so we can't really do much on this side, but that is fine. Because we can go to this customs house, say, give me a tower crane. There's one. Let's do the big one. Now the big one is here, and it says we have purchased a tower crane. How does this one going to get anywhere? Really simple. You load it onto a flatbed. What flatbed can it go on? I don't know. Click on this button. It says it can fit on this one and on all of these other vehicles. Wonderful. How about we buy one of those? So let's go in here, purchase a vehicle again, find in open haul, open haul, right there. This is the one that works. And now what? This one doesn't do anything until it has a home. It needs to go somewhere first, and this home is a road depot. Okay, road depot over here, road vehicles depot, same thing. There are the regular buildings, and then there is the road depot free, or mud version of it. Let's just put it here, make sure it doesn't try to build the expensive gravel road, then tell your vehicle to go out there and do its thing. Cool, it is here. And now what? Well, you want to pick up the other mechanism that you have sitting here. Cool, makes sense. Just tell them, go here, load, and in this case, this is a flatbed. If you just tell it to go, it will try to load whatever it wants, not just nothing. To avoid that, you have to tell it, just get me a vehicle and container. That's all I want. Don't pick any of the other stuff up. And if you want to pick up vehicles and containers, do not check, wait until loaded. That is very, very important, because if you do that, you're not going to pick up anything. But we'll just tell it, load that there, unload it here, or just do nothing, I guess, at the depot. That's fine. And go. Let's see what it does. It's raining a little bit, but there is our crane. You see it? It's sitting on here, and now that a flatbed is going to take it somewhere, or open haul, whatever we want to call it. Cool. That should make sense, I hope. So if you have some vehicles that are not able to move by themselves, you're going to get them like this. There is another situation where that's very, very important. Your first railroad. I can't build the railroad at this point. The construction office, the railroad construction office here, has to get built first. But when it's built, that also means you do not have a rail connection right away. Before it got too dark, I had to change it to always day. So there you go. Yes, so you have to bring things here. But how do you get them there without having a rail connection? Well, very similar to what we just did. You have to go out here and purchase something that can, one, fit in this customs house. That's very important. It's a small customs house. Not everything fits in here. But what I want is a disassembled AGMU. This one will just show up like before as a vehicle right here. That vehicle can then be picked up again by a crane, by a flatbed. And if you don't know what flatbed it fits on, just go over here, show vehicles where it fits on, and tells you this one will fit. So cool. So we're going to do the same thing. Just everything is still set up to be the same. So we're just going to have it go to the border post and pick up the stuff that we care about. It didn't do it. Why didn't it do it? I would assume that it didn't do that because it cannot do anything here. Like, it cannot drop off anything in this location, and therefore it's like, well, I can't pick up anything here that I can bring somewhere. So what do we have to do? Either get the rail construction office done or get the long depot done. What I'm going to do is just do what I told you earlier. You can always just turn realistic mode off, just like this, and then tell it, hey, I want you to build this. Get it done. Cool. Now it's done. Now get our road connection in here. We're going to turn realistic mode it's just a difficulty setting, really. I'm going to turn it back on just because I want to. And now I'm going to tell this guy to do something similar. Go to the border and drop off here. Again, make sure that you check vehicle container, unload vehicle container, and go. Ta-da! It worked. And now it's going to bring it to the vehicle to the place where it's actually able to do something with. Hope that makes sense. You can do the same thing for a rail depot. Okay. Where it gets a little weird is if you want to bring trains from the border anywhere else, because then you set up the trains the same way, exactly the same way, but the trains will only fill up as long as the customs house track is. So in this case, the track is only 113 meters. It will only pick up as many wagons as fit into this space. Like, it will just not go past that. So you will probably need multiple trips to pick up the things, the wagons that you actually care about, but then you should be fine. I hope that makes sense. You have to do that with metro wagons, all metro cars, and we can look at them. Do we have a metro already? We do have a metro. Cool. This metro cannot, absolutely not, drive on regular rail. It can get pulled there, but it doesn't have the third rail. It doesn't have the thing that gives it power, which means it cannot drive. And we'll get into metro a little more later. Track cannot be connected. Oh, yeah, here. Track cannot be connected to this thing. So a metro cannot get here. If you do want to build metro, this is what you have to do. Pick one of the depots, doesn't matter which one it is. Then pick your metro track, and you can connect that to the depot on either side, doesn't matter where. But you have to connect a regular track, doesn't matter what it is, through the other ends. And then you can tell a train to bring your metro into this depot, and then from the depot you can tell the metro to do whatever you need to do. You can connect these two rails together. This is metro and regular track together, but that doesn't help you. You cannot fork or like put a connection in here with regular rail. That matters for when you have to build it with a rail construction vehicle, rail construction crane, because you need a way to actually connect this, because the rail construction office, there it is, does not let you connect metro track. You see this? Cannot be connected here, can only be connected to the depot. I don't know if they're ever going to change it, but you can do this. Now you can actually start building the metro track. I hope that makes sense. I don't want to build all of this because I don't think it's going to illustrate the point any more than that. What you can do is build junctions with metro track on metro track. Hope that makes sense. So that's how you move metro track around, and that's how you get things from here. Other items that are of importance. This guy currently ran out of fuel. What are we going to do now? For fuel, historically, you needed power, because this gas station consumes a little bit of power, not a lot, 50 kilowatts, megawatt hours, yeah, 50 kilowatts, but you have to build it first, and then you have to deliver fuel, and then you have to do all the other little things, and yeah, that's not cool. So they also gave you a free gas station. However, as you can see, there's a count on that, 0 of 12. A couple of the other buildings had that too. There is a limit to some of the free buildings that you can build. Gas station's one of them, the road depot is one of them, construction office, a distribution office, technical service, and I'll show you all of those too. But this one, if you want to build it, plop it down, connect it. This does not require any power, it's just there. But you still have to deliver some fuel here. So how are we going to do that? Well, that's simple. Just go to your distribution office, find the mud one. You can only build 5 of these, so it's getting a little more complicated. Get that one built, order the vehicle that you want. I'm just going to get a cistern. There's the guy. Cool. And then we will tell it just the normal stuff. Distribution office. Oh, you could, well, you don't need a distribution office for this. You can do the exact same thing from a depot and just set up a designated line. But the free gas station only has 1 parking spot. So if you have a cistern sitting here to unload fuel and wait until unloaded, you're never going to load up anything. So just set up your normal stuff. Load fuel from here, thank you, and bring it to this gas station until it's sumping, and then it will just start filling up the gas station. Hope that makes sense. You do have to do this, otherwise you will run out of fuel right away. Which, this by itself also means that you should not start too far away from the border, because everything is slowed down because you actually have to move cargo from the border to wherever you want to go. Which is the next point. This will load up with traffic really, really quickly, so be very careful with what you do. What can help you is some of the other free buildings that the game gives you now. For example, we have an open storage. Looks like this. You just plop it down, and this one can now store these types. However, it can only store a really small amount. This one is not limited, so you can go crazy here. The thing that's not good about this, station for vehicle loading, unloading. 1. Not a lot, and it does not have any factory connections, so it's going to be a really slow loading and unloading, just period. So I like to replace this right away, but this is an option. You can, in your downtime, just fill this up with a distribution office, so you only have one truck continuously pulling stuff from the customs house, so you don't have a ton of traffic there all of a sudden. The traffic will go here if you pick up your materials from there. Other buildings are, there's no warehouse, there's no mud warehouse, so you always have to pick that up from the customs house. I think that makes perfect sense, because in the warehouse you may have to store food and other spoilable things or perishable things, so you need electricity, which you don't have at this point. So it makes sense to me that you don't have a free warehouse. I'm sure there's going to be a mod out there really soon, and there are smaller warehouses available in the mod already. So that's all fine, but for the vanilla version, this makes perfect sense. Same thing here. The space for vehicles and containers, no meat storage because power, again, that's all the same thing. Where you have another storage is the aggregate storage, and I am pretty sure I'm going to forget one of them, but here, it's just the same thing. It is a, come on. Cool. It is a relatively small storage, not tiny, but relatively small, and it only has one parking spot for loading and unloading, so it's relatively slow, but it can help you alleviate traffic from the customs house, so use them when you can. What else do we have? I showed you a distribution office, cool. I haven't showed you a free bus stop. Looks like this, just a bus stop free. Just plop it down. The only downside to this guy is it can only hold up to 100 people. That's the main downside, and then it's always a mud road. You cannot upgrade it, so vehicles that drive through here have to go 35 kilometers per hour. There's no way around it, so it's always slowed down. But other than that, it's a really normal bus stop, but you can plop it down for free, and there is a limit of 15 on them, so be aware of that. The rest is pretty much the same. You have a free bus or car parking lot with mud. I have not used this, but I generally don't use cars, so knock yourself out. I'm sure it's fun. And that's really what I remember from the free buildings. I may be forgetting one or two here, but that's the gist of it, at least. Cool. What else is new? Well, construction. There's another thing that you have to do. If you want this construction office to do something, you have all these resources that you currently do not have. Where do you get them? Oh, you just tell them to go here, get it from the customs house, and figure out things. Pretty simple, right? You just have to provide the vehicles that you want, and then everything can be picked up from here, including, and this is new, foreign workers. Now, with foreign workers, there are a couple things that you need to be aware of. First, the working shift timer runs super fast, like super duper fast, which may mean what a normal citizen has at 8 hours. This person's 8 hours are really 4 hours of a regular citizen. Like, I don't think that math is right, but it's significantly shorter than your normal citizens. However, waiting at the border instead of just 1 hour is 12 hours. And waiting at the bus stop is also 12 hours instead of 1 hour. So that makes sense. Travel time on the bus is also 12 hours instead of 4 hours. So everything is increased, but the working shift is really decreased, and you do pay for these. If you want to know how much you pay for them, you just go to your economies at trade. Average cost of one workday is about 10 ruble or $12, so you know exactly when you pick up one person, you pay about that much. I haven't gotten the math of if one workday is really split between 3 workers or how that works, so a worker really costs us 3. I think this is average cost of one worker, not workday, but it's a tiny amount there that we don't have to worry about too much. But I hope that makes sense. You can get all your people from there. You don't need to be a construction office to pick up workers. You can also just have a normal depot and then just have a bus run from the customs house to your bus stops and drop off your workers there. That's still the same thing, that hasn't changed. Another thing that probably is important if you go to your technical service, and this is a building that I haven't shown you, technical service free, because same thing, water is very important. How do you get water? Oh, wow, really simple. You just tell them you want your water and your sewage to come from the customs house, and then it will do just that. There are more sources. this is from the water update, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but you can set your technical service to do all of this if you really want to. And all the behavior is exactly the same as before. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, a couple more things, and these are different in nature. One is that in the blueprint mode, I'm going to just use some gravel road. If you put, this is blueprint, this is still white. That's what the blueprint mode is. Back in the day, if we put two road pieces back together like this, the thing in the middle here where my green starts is a node. That node stayed. In the new update, that node goes away. Not always, but sometimes. Especially for road, that's really cool. Especially for rail, that's really annoying because it does the same thing on the bridge. Let's get the bridge up a little bit like this, and then put a straight piece like this. You see the node there? Put another straight piece like this. I promise. Sometimes the nodes go away until they just recently fixed that. If they fixed it, great. If they didn't fix it, not great. But I had it happen before where it just said, oh, you wanted me to replace this node here because I wanted to place a traffic light there or a semaphore there. But it looks like they fixed that, so awesome. Thank you. Other things. Tunnels. Metro tunnel. Yes, F3 gives you the underground view. There's your metro tunnel. You can't be above ground everywhere, so let's get this a little lower. And then, oh, come on. Connect it. There you go. Run it over here and run it over here. Metro tunnel doesn't have nodes, okay? It doesn't have nodes. But I was told that you can now, at least when it's built, I was told that when it's completed, you can place some signals. Right now, it looks like you can't place it when it's still being in construction. So let's double check that really quick because I think that's very important. Okay, there's our metro tunnel. Here is our semaphore and can't place it. Nope, still broken. They said that ability was added, but it's not working, so there you go. I hope they add that back in. It's actually really annoying. It was part of the update early on, and then they took it away. I don't know why, and honestly, I don't care. I just want it to be back there so I can actually use this, but that's fine. So just be aware of that. Make your tunnels really short. Speaking of tunnels, if we turn off our vehicle lock according to year, I can show you a new vehicle that you probably should care about, which is, I can't buy it there. I need a railroad connection to actually buy this vehicle. It is a track builder, and it is a tunnel boring machine. If you watched any of my videos, you've probably seen this before, but it's a tunnel boring machine. It doesn't require any workers, and it creates tunnels in absolutely no time at all. Just choose through it, and that is it. It is great. I wish it would require some workers. I think that would be nice. But that is another thing that was updated. There are several new vehicles and like skins and other things throughout the game for several different reasons. I'm not going to show all of those because I honestly don't know what all of them are, but they exist, so I hope you like that. Cool. What else do we have? Just Metro and Tram, really. And that's honestly really quick summary. For citizens, you have different platforms like Metro above ground, level, below ground. Let's just show you a couple. This one's above ground. There's just bigger and smaller one, really. This is at ground, and then there are two below ground stations. There's this one and this one, right? So below ground looks like this, above ground looks like that. I should mention that if, oh good, they fixed this, I love it. At some point the footpath symbols didn't show up right, but they are showing up right now. These are underground footpath symbols. And, oh, that's why you can't see them, because you have to have the underground on. They're underground footpath symbols. You can, if you want to, connect pedestrian tunnels like this, like you would expect, or you can use the pedestrian tunnel to go above ground, like so. So you can get away from this guy. You can do it however you want. Honestly, really, it's none of my business, so do however you like. Up here are regular footpath connections if you want it. The elevated stations have footpath connections here, but they also have bridge connections if that is something you want to pursue. And yes, you can pull these down all the way to ground level if that is something that fits your design and desires. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a through station, I believe. I haven't actually used it, so I'm not 100% sure. And this, I believe, is actually a bus station also that you can use if you want to. So use a transfer station at your own risk. I hope you saw my warning about that not too long ago. But that is metro setup, and everything else past it is really just normal train building, just like what you're used to. You build your metro track here. It has to be the metro thingy, even the metro bridges and all that stuff. But yeah, it works now, and it does its thing, so it's wonderful. That's metro. There's nothing else to metro besides, well, there are end stations. I'm getting to it. Metro end station, there's one above ground, and then there's one just below ground. This one's below ground, that's why you can't see it, and then there's one above ground if you care. The length, don't worry about the length, all the trains fit in there, so that is fine. But because the metro still apparently does not have the underground signals, I don't know what the point of the underground lines is, because that's important. You can run a metro line without signals, with just the end station, but you cannot have a lot of metros on it at the time, because they will get stuffed up and eventually it will try to turn around and then they just ping pong off each other, and that's annoying. So that is there. The other thing that we have is tram. Tram station. You have 3 separate tram roads. Yep, tram with tram track, tram no access for pedestrians or roads, and tram railroad connection. This one is important because on one side it's railroad, on the other side it's tram road that looks like just a normal road. Why would you need this? Well, if you import your trams, for example, from the border, you have to have a way to actually drive them onto your line. Some trams are transportable by truck. Let's find one. I don't know. These look like mods, so I'm not terribly hopeful that that will work. But if we look at these, they cannot be transported by any truck vehicles that I have. So if you come across these, the only way to get them from A to B is via rail. So just hook your rail up to the end of this. Let's see. I have the wrong buttons here. Hook your rail up to the end of this and then get your vehicles in there. If you don't want to electrify everything, you can use a diesel train to pick up your tram from the customs house, bring it to a rail depot, and then from the rail depot you can let the tram just drive to wherever you want it to drive. Should make sense, I hope. It's relatively intuitive, well, especially after you did it the first time, so hope that makes sense. The other things that we have is just tram track. They are exactly what you expect them to be. There's a piece of road, and there are some catenaries on there. I don't even know if they're called catenaries for trams as well, but that's what they look like. There's a normal road that is shared between the road vehicles and trams. This is a road that is not shared. Only trams can drive on here, not even pedestrians can run on there, and that is it. A word of caution. You cannot upgrade asphalt road to a panel road. That's what the tram track with no access for pedestrians or cars is. It's a panel road that's upgraded to tram track. You can only upgrade panel road to tram track. Asphalt road, you can upgrade to road with tram track. I hope that makes sense. I believe they all start with gravel. Let's see. If they all use gravel, it should be fine. This one uses 15 tons of gravel. Great. This one uses no gravel. No, it does 19 tons of gravel. So yeah, both of them you should be able to upgrade from gravel road to those 2 roads, but once you pick either asphalt or panel road, you can no longer go to the other one. So I hope that makes sense. Cool. Couple other things. There's some metro stops. They look exactly like you would expect them. They are relatively small, honestly, so I'm a little surprised by that, but that's okay. There's 150 for the small one and 250 capacity for the big one, but they look very similar to the road connections that we already have. I'm really excited to see some mods come out for this, because I think they will add a lot more functionality to the tram lines itself. The tram cannot turn around. I will say that. The metro also cannot turn around. You have to give them a way to turn around. So simple diamond crossing, like this, will not be enough. You actually have to supply a way for the tram to turn around. And that is just a simple turnaround loop like this. Wow, that's pretty. Or like any other way that you want to do this. But you have to tell them specifically to turn around. They cannot turn around in the station itself. Which is, I think is cool, because I've seen metros both ways, where there's only one driving cab on one side and on the other end was just open effectively, or I've also seen them where both sides had drivers on it. But in this case, Metros don't turn around, trams do not turn around, so you have to give them an opportunity to do so. Obviously, metro and tram both have some connectors. We already had a tram travel before, but now the tram travel also, well, we had a trolley travel. Now we have just a tram travel. Oh, there's a trolleybus travel. I guess they're different now. I didn't realize it. I thought they're the same ones. But either way, you have to supply enough power for your roads if you want to use either of them. Your metros will require power, but you can use just the regular electric station. And there are underground railroad stations like this. You can change the height with E and Q. I hope you can kind of see that. E, Q, you change the height of them. So you have connections above ground if you need them. But again, as long as the tunnels don't have appropriate signaling, I don't know if anyone needs to use this. But it's there, so that's nice. The last thing that I think I will touch, and then I think we're done, is there's now a loan limit. It is told to you what that loan limit is. This loan limit is mainly affected by inflation and by your number of citizens. Nothing else. It doesn't matter what your GDP or anything else is yet. It is, if you have 2 million people, you have 2 million people times a certain amount of money for how much you can take out for a loan. That's a stupid number. If you have 2,000 people, you're going to have more amount that you can borrow than if you have 0 people. How do we see that? We just say, invite some people. Increased, and then we're full. But you saw that number slightly go up. That's all that means. Nothing else affects that number as far as I'm told. And that's what I'm sticking with, just in case you're curious. I don't believe there's anything else. Again, there are a couple buildings, a couple other things that are updated. I don't know if they're updated recently or not. For example, there's a small police station, there's a small courthouse, there's not a small prison, and so on. Oh, yeah, technical services. Yay. That's really all I have. So I hope that helped someone get started. If there are specific questions, please ask them. I will make another how to get started in 2022, hopefully soon. It's almost the end of 2022, so I hope that still happens. Maybe it's a how to get started in 2023. I'm not certain yet, but the realistic mode is great. Please, 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 do me a favor. Don't use the coconut mode. Don't mention it. Don't talk about it. It caused me a lot of pain. It caused the developers a lot of pain, and it's very annoying that a person would do that. I do not want to support that anymore in any way, shape, or form. So if you want to refer to the coconut mode, just use realistic mode if you really have to. Oh, and on the channel, the coconut mode word is banned. So if you type that, your comment is not going to show up. Just fair warning. Thank you for watching so far, this far. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something. And yeah, good luck playing. If you have questions or problems, please send them to me, because then I can make a new tutorial for things that people have problems with, and that's what I think I'm good at. But other than that, like, subscribe if you want to see more of this. Season 6 is currently going on, a couple episodes in. You haven't missed much yet, and I think it will help you get started with this play mode as well. So, thanks again. Thanks for watching. I'm B-Ball Joe, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.